Well, another big problem with the story of the virgin birth, in fact a major problem, was that the prophecy in question wasn't about Jesus or birth of Jesus at all. It has nothing whatsoever to do with Jesus. The sign in the story in Isaiah 7, in particular 7:14, was a reference to an imminent event which happened in about 734 BC, that is more than 700 years before the supposed conception of Jesus. If you go to Isaiah chapter 7, from 2 to 7, Isaiah 7, 2 to 7, before we get to 14, Isaiah 7, 2 to 7, what happened there was that a combined military force of Israel, Northern Kingdom, and Aram, Syria currently, had converged to attack Judah. And their king, Ahaz, was very young. And this combined force of Israel and Aram was very strong. And the Bible said that King Ahaz and his people were trembling with fear because of the imminent attack coming to them. Because of this, Prophet Isaiah went to the king and said, "Do not worry, that the Lord of Judah, the God of Judah, would protect the people of Judah from this attack." And Isaiah said to the king, "Ask for a sign that the God of our God will protect." The king said, no, I'm not going to ask for a sign. I won't put God to test." Then Isaiah said, "Okay then, the Lord himself will give you a sign to show you that this protection is going to happen." And it says, "The sign is this: a young woman will bear a son, and you will call that son Immanuel." And the prophet goes on to say that before this child is old enough to eat curd, that's cheese, and honey, that's before 1 year, because honey is 1 year before you can eat honey as a child. And before that child could differentiate between right and wrong, and that should be between a few years, if not a few, Israel and Syria or Aram will be completely destroyed and deserted. That was a sign of the young woman will bear a son, and you shall call that son Immanuel. Jewish Encyclopedia explains this. In connection with Isaiah's messianic hope, the Immanuel message in Isaiah 7 verse 14, which is interpreted in Matthew 1:23 as referring to the birth of Jesus, has no messianic import whatsoever. The name has reference merely to events of the immediate present at that time. He means to give a token by which the truth of his prophetic word may be tested, saying that any young woman giving birth to a son in the near future will call him Immanuel, which is to say, God is with us, in remembrance of the withdrawal of the Syrian Ephraimitic armies from the country. End of quote. Nothing to do with Jesus. Of course, Jesus was never called Immanuel, either in the Gospels or anywhere else. Despite attempts to cover up this by saying that Immanuel wasn't supposed to be a proper name for Jesus, the prophecy in Isaiah says, "A young woman shall bear a son, and you shall call him Immanuel. Or you shall name him Immanuel, which means God with us. Jesus, in the angel Gabriel visitation to Mary, says, you shall call him, or you shall name him Jesus. He didn't say Immanuel. That prophecy does not refer to Jesus or his birth. The final problem I'm going to look at today about the prophecy of the virgin birth is that the woman in question in the prophecy in Isaiah 7:14 was not Mary, could not have been Mary, and wasn't supposed to be Mary. That was because the event in question happened 700 years and more before the time of Mary. It was in reference to an event about to happen at that time, which was about the deliverance of the people of Judah from armies coming to attack them. And the child in question was to be born soon after the prophecy, as a sign to the reigning king of that time, King Ahaz, that this, what the prophet said, was going to pass. It was a sign to the king of that time. So which meant it will happen when the king was still there. Yeah? Soon after the prophecy. So it's probably the spouse or concubine of Isaiah that had that child that will be called Immanuel. Isaiah 8, 3-4, and then verse 8. Isaiah 8, verse 3-4, and then 8. I slept with the prophet. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son. Yahweh told me, name him Maha Shalal Hashbaz. Before the boy knows how to say daddy or mommy, or before he knows how to say father and mother, the wealth of Damascus and the loot from Samaria will be carried away to the king of Assyria. If you remember the previous one, said the sign is a young woman will bear a son, and they will call him Immanuel, which means God with us. Before long, before this child to be born, will be old enough to eat honey and cheese. The armies of Samaria, the armies of Israel, and the armies of Aram and Syria will be destroyed, and their land will be deserted. The Assyrians, he was saying, will come before 1 year, before this child becomes 1 year, to destroy Syria and destroy Israel or Samaria. He goes on in verse 8 to say that the king of Assyria, like the Euphrates, would sweep through Judah. It will overflow and pass through. It will be neck high. Its outspread wings will extend over your whole country. O Immanuel, God with us. So the child appears to be the child of Isaiah, who was given birth to shortly after the prophecy in Isaiah 7:14, and who now confirms what Isaiah had said. This child is not, could not have been Jesus, and the woman is not and could not have been Mary. So our conclusion today is very short and simple. The claim that the conception of Jesus fulfilled a Jewish prophecy was a lie. It did not. 2, the claim about Jesus' conception by a virgin called Mary and the story of his birth, it would appear, also is a fabrication, not based on true story or true facts. If you need more information on what we are discussing, I've got a book on the subject called Fantastic Jesus. contains plenty of wonderful information. If you like the video, please thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel to get more updates as they come, and please help us share this information. Until next time, have a lovely week. Bye.